Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. It was Breakfast of Fighting Words. In this video, I want to talk about Alycia Baumgardner versus Claressa Shields. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time, subscribe to the channel. Also hit the thumbs up button. It does help and it does show support and love for this channel. So, I don't even really know where to begin with this because it kind of came from left field. So, Claressa Shields has been having, I'd say, like a rough few days. So first, there's footage of her being dropped in sparring. I don't really take much out of that because it's just sparring. If you have been in the ring, you've been hit hard. There's two things I can guarantee that you felt if you've ever boxed. Oh, well, three things actually. One, headaches. Two, bloody nose. Three, you've been dropped. You know, whether it's a body shot, whether it's something like what Claressa Shields felt, but you've been dropped. You went to a knee, you know, and you were forced to ask that question. Do I want this? Is this where I want to be? You had to ask that question, that internal question. So that's what kind of triggered things for her, Claressa Shields. And it just kind of spiraled out of control. The footage kind of basically just went viral. And Alycia Baumgardner was asked about it. And it just kind of took another effect because Alycia Baumgardner just basically just kind of went off and said, you know, I'd fight her. And she also mentioned something. Here's the key to the interview with Alycia Baumgardner. She said, you know, it's going to be a new me coming 2024. And that has to do with her and the whole steroids accusations. Now, why is that important? I feel as if Alycia Baumgardner thought that she should have gotten maybe a little bit more support from women's boxing. More importantly and more directly, women boxers should have possibly or should have just come to her aid. I don't know where she gets that from, but, you know, number one, boxing is not a team sport. It's a solitary sport. It's not a team sport. I get it, you know, in terms of women boxing and, you know, they want equality, they want equal pay and all these things. But in terms of what happened to her, that's not something we collectively fight for. You want to talk about equal pay and you want to talk about doing equal rounds and equal time in the ring, that's one thing. But if you want to talk about you doing or being caught with things in your system that you should not have been caught with, that's a side issue. But I really feel it stemmed from that. I feel like she felt she should have got more support. She should have got more sisterhood overall, collectively, from women's boxing. And she didn't receive that. So moving forward, 2024, I'm on my own, and it's me against all of you. Not just collective, not just in terms of sportsmanship, but I'm just against you, and we're not going to be friends. It is strictly business moving forward, and my dreams, my aspirations, and my personal goals in the sport of boxing. And I feel like that's the stance that she was taking. Again, nothing wrong with that. I don't have any issue with that. And quite frankly, I feel as if you should have that view on things if you're boxing. It should be a me thing because boxing is very selfish. So I don't have any issue with that. None at all, actually. What I do take offense to is her thinking that people should come to her aid. And listen, only she knows what she did, but evidence is evidence. And I'll just leave that at that. So, in which case, she said that she'd be willing to fight Claressa Shields, and anybody can get it. Now, my issue is, why didn't you call out the people in your actual weight class? That would make more sense. You know, you got your Katie Taylors, you got your Amanda Serranos, you know, your Chantel Camerons. Why don't you do a rematch with Michaela Mayer, because you only won that fight by a hair's inch. So why don't you run that back? It was kind of weird that she went and bypassed everybody here, which, by the way, everybody that he mentioned was a name. Everybody that he mentioned, she could generate a lot of money from. But she left this pool and ran all the way over here to a much bigger weight. Now, I don't know if you've actually seen Alycia Baumgardner side by side with Claressa Shields, but there is a massive difference in size. And I do mean massive. It's a massive difference in size. And you got to think, that you clearly can't mean this. You clearly don't really, you clearly don't really want this, because there is a massive difference. Now, she will actually, well, obviously have the speed factor, but that's about it. Because there's the thing of you transferring your power going up. However, the amount of weight that she would have to put on to go up to meet Claressa Shields, she did mention that she would do an MMA match at 147. However, Claressa Shields realistically is can't get past 154, maybe 152, and so Alycia Baumgardner said, "Hey, let that be our catch weight. Let's fight at 147." And but my whole issue is this: why are you bypassing all the names that I just mentioned? Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Chantelly Cameron, and a rematch with Michaela Mayer. Because a rematch with Michaela Mayer, with their history and their bad blood, I think money-wise and the ability to generate, I think there's nothing bigger in women's boxing than those two getting back in the ring. I think the only thing that could possibly trump that would be Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall all over again. But that's about it. And quite frankly, if you ask me, I feel like Alycia Baumgardner and Michaela Mayer stole the show from those two. So I just don't understand, where it's coming from, but I think maybe it was the bond of sisterhood. And I think, you didn't get my back, girl, when you're supposed to get my back. And it's like, yeah, I'll get your back, but I'm not going to get your back when you're being accused of steroids. I'm not going to get your back for that. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to get your back for that. She also, Alycia Baumgardner was also asked about Amanda Serrano, saying that she wants to just let go of a belt just because, she can't get the 12 rounds or whatever. And, Alycia Baumgardner said something. She said the reality is women's boxing, there's not a whole lot of knockouts. So if you just make it 12 rounds and then you make it 3-minute rounds, it's going to be a lot longer. It's just the amount of action that they generate in those 2-minute rounds, it matters. Based upon women's boxing doesn't have as high a knockout ratio as men's boxing, so it does matter. So that faster pace, if I'm not guaranteed the knockout or a whole lot of violence or some blood, I would at least like to see a fast-paced fight, and I think that's fair. And she did make one good point. She said it depends on the opponents. You don't want to see two pillow punchers go in there, and now you got to watch 12 rounders of two pillow punchers. Nobody wants to see that. And I agree with her. So that's that. Now, my closing question is, let's just say they were to meet at 147, which I do not believe that Claressa Shields can make 147, but let's just say she could. Would Alycia Baumgardner have a shot at beating her? Like I said, she would have the speed factor, but by very, very little, because, that is a lot of weight that she's going to be carrying on or putting on for an actual fight. Yeah, it's one thing for you to walk around with something, but it's something else when, you actually compete at something else. So could she beat Claressa Shields? She doesn't have half the resume that Claressa Shields has. A lot of the girls that Claressa Shields beat, they were actually undefeated when she beat them. She has a lot more accolades. I think Claressa Shields has a deeper arsenal of weapons in the ring. I'm not saying that Alycia Baumgardner isn't a skilled fighter. I think she's a very skilled fighter, but I don't feel like her arsenal is as deep as Claressa Shields. I also don't think that she is willing to throw as many punches in around as Claressa Shields. If Claressa Shields can throw that many punches, as many punches as she throws in around at like 160, 168, what in the world do you think she would do at a lower weight class when she has probably better cardio? Now, you could easily make the argument that she could be weight drained, but nonetheless, I don't think that's going to totally affect the punch output. Not to mention if you're doing 10 rounds, not to mention if you're doing 10 2-minute rounds. I mean, Alycia Baumgardner would have a huge hill to climb if she wants to give off that she could beat Claressa Shields at 147. I'm going to use 152 because 147 just is realistic. Claressa Shields is not going to make 147. I don't care if it's for MMA or whatever. She's just not going to make 147. if she makes 147, she faints on the scale. That's what I think. So that's that. I don't give Alycia Baumgardner much shot. Like I said, if Claressa Shields were to make the weight, I suppose she would be drained. And then I suppose, her punch resistance would have changed as well, because she is clearly the bigger and more durable of the two. And Claressa Shields has been hit by much harder punchers, like Savannah Marshall, like Christina Hammer. So, I mean, Franchon Cruz, skill-wise, I get where she's going with this. I really do. But you haven't fought anybody on that level to even say that you have that type of skill, to be honest. To be just to be fair. And then to say, you could put her down. Now you're stretching. You're really stretching. Because Savannah Marshall put Claressa Shields down, but she couldn't keep her down. And when Claressa Shields got back to her feet, Claressa Shields had one good working eye. She saw 3 of Savannah Marshall's for the rest of the night, and she still won that fight. Unanimous decision, I believe. So what are you going to do? Like I said, I think this is a little bit more personal because there was I think the baton of sisterhood was dropped, and nobody came to the aid of Alycia Baumgardner, and I think it rubbed her the wrong way. And now that one of her sisters had been caught not caught, but in the middle of something that didn't show her in the best light, Claressa Shields being dropped, she took an opportunity, not only to throw a dart at Claressa Shields, but she took an opportunity to attach herself to something that was spreading like wildfire. That video going viral of Claressa Shields being dropped. And now she's back in the mix. But I think right now, Alycia Baumgardner is basically doing the Conor Ben shuffle where he's just basically saying, I'll fight you, I'll fight you, I'll fight you. And the majority of people are like, yeah, okay. I don't want that fight because I don't trust you. That's basically where I'm going with this. But you tell me your thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below. Do you think that Alycia Baumgardner could make a strong case for herself in the ring against Claressa Shields? Or do you think she's just blowing smoke? And the other question is, why do you think she bypassed everybody who would be naturally in line for her to fight to go all the way over here? Drop your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.